Awesome, awesome. Welcome, everyone. I do see that we have some members joining us in right now, so we're going to give a couple minutes. Thank you so much to all of our attendees who are joining us now. We're going to give one more minute before we jump right in, since we do have our amazing panelists, and we do have one of our members too who has to drop off a little early. So I want to make sure that we get opportunity for all of us to enjoy the full panel and ask questions too as we have them here. So we're going to give one more minute to allow for the rest of our attendees to join. Also, I want to just say thank you just so much to all of you all who are here today. I am super excited, also just super happy to see all of you joining us today. This is actually the first HQ-led event that we had after Summit. So I'm just really proud and excited, as you can see, to have our amazing sponsor here, Accenture, be part of our first kickoff event post-Summit. But also to see such a great turnout of people who are interested in learning more about this amazing topic and our amazing panelists today. And without further ado, since I want to be mindful of time, just want to just give some quick housekeeping rules. We are going to be recording today's session. So in case anybody has to drop off or misses any part of the portion of this will be shared post-event to all of you who registered. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to give some topics and some information regarding LIT to get started. And while we're getting started too, I would love to hear in the chat, if you are new to our network, we'd love to hear from you in the chat to see where you're located, but also to all of our amazing members. Please add in the chat where you're joining us from today. Awesome. I see people are joining in as well. It's super exciting. But then again, welcome again to today. For those who are new to our network, my name is Juana Estrada, and I am the Senior Manager here at Latinas in Tech. And I am so happy that you're joining us today as your first introduction to Latinas in Tech. What we do here is provide a network for communities of Latinas who work in the tech industry, but we also welcome allies. If you are an ally here today, thank you for joining us. And we provide a multitude of different ways to connect with our community. One of them being is offering mentorship between our members and our network. We also offer recruitment opportunities, which today actually Accenture will be talking a little bit about that towards the end of the event. And then we also offer PD opportunities for you to grow in your career and learn more ways to expand in your career as well. We have an amazing network of 20,000 plus women and allied here at Latinas in Tech, with 25 chapters all across the country and globally. That means we are in Canada, Mexico, London, Madrid, Brazil, Dublin, and I believe I'm missing some there, but we are internationally as well. So again, please visit our website if you want to learn more about ways to connect with our network. We have a QR code here on the screen, which will provide you links regarding, mentorship, how to become a member, and also to how to find a chapter near you as well. So I'm going to leave this up for a minute for you to scan in case you want to go ahead and scan. Awesome. And I also encourage you as well to visit our website at latinas.org to learn more about all these amazing opportunities for you to connect with our network as well. Another announcement, as mentioned, another way for you to connect with our network is through mentorship. And we do have a mentorship program. And so this is a really awesome way to leverage your network if you want to become a mentee and grow your network, but also too, if you want to be a mentor and want to support women here in our network. So we are looking for mentors currently to be part of the mentorship program. And again, we also welcome allies. We are huge advocates to have allies in our network. So if you also are an ally, we encourage you to be part of our mentorship program call to action here. And then last but not least, we have exciting news to say the date. So this year we are kicking off our Hispanic Heritage Month, but also to our Lit Recruit event on September 12th. So we highly encourage you all to keep an eye out for the RSVP landing page to go live on our website. I believe it should be live by next week. So begin to register for this event. Now, for those who are new to our network, Lit Recruit is actually one of our largest recruiting virtual events here at Lit. So I highly encourage you, if you're looking for a job or looking to grow expand your network, to attend our Lit Recruit event happening in September. Again, it's happening September 12th this year. So thank you again to all of you who are joining us. And without further ado, I would love to pass the mic now to our Accenture team.
Thank you so much, Juana. Hi, everybody. My name is Julian Medina Golden. I am the lead for Hispanic and Latinx recruitment for North America here at Accenture. And I'm also a jefa. So I lead the Central Florida Latinas in Tech chapter. I'm very excited to be here with you all today. And before we get started with our wonderful panel, I wanted to introduce you all a little bit to Accenture in case you're not familiar with our amazing organization. So we would love you to join us to work at the heart of change. And I am so proud to say that we are Latinas in Tech's 2024 Company of the Year. So we have been a proud sponsor of Latinas in Tech for the past 2 years now, going on 3. And it just has been amazing collaborating with the team. Juana and all of Latinas in Tech have just been welcoming, so collaborative, innovative, and we're just very, very happy to be continuing our sponsorship and a relationship with the organization. So we're going to talk a little bit about who's Accenture, our culture here, talk to our amazing panelists that we have put together, and then I'm going to share how you can connect with Accenture. I did drop our link in the chat, so if you're interested in learning more, connecting with me directly or submitting your resume to me, definitely check out the link in the chat, and I will be posting it throughout the event. So today's speakers, you just met Juana and again myself, two amazing jefas here, if I do say so myself, who will be kind of hosting you all today before we start with the panel. So a little bit about Accenture. Our purpose is to deliver on the promise of technology and human ingenuity. So we understand, and I'm sure many of you all do as well, technology is at the forefront of basically everything that we do and everything that we interact with on a day-to-day basis as humans. But even with the advancement of AI, even with all of the technological enhancements that we touch every day, it's not possible without human interaction, and Accenture understands that. And so that is why it's part of our purpose to make sure that we're serving the world, bringing innovation, but also understanding that innovation can't happen without the human mind. So we are a very large organization. We have over 700,000 employees globally. I'm proud to say that we actually have Latinas in Tech members who are Accenture employees across the globe. I've met some from Madrid. We know some from Canada, Mexico. So no matter where you're at in the world or where you want to be, Accenture is there too. And we have in North America over 70,000 employees as well. If you've never heard of Accenture, we're a professional services company, and we're behind a lot of the things you see, do, touch every day. But for those of you who are familiar with the Wizard of Oz, I like to say we're just like the Wizard of Oz. You see everything that we're doing, but we're behind the curtain. What you're seeing a lot of times is our clients' logos when you actually interact with the technology and the services that we provide. And so over 75% of the Fortune 500 companies are our clients, and the majority of the Fortune 100 companies are as well. We can move on to the next slide. So in North America, we are located in over 40 locations, 11 of which are innovation hubs. So I had the pleasure of actually visiting the innovation hub in Atlanta last week, and this is just where we create the magic. We're able to do hands-on implementation of technology that you all probably can never even dream of. So it's really cool to be able to have opportunities to innovate around the country. And so our services are broken up into into five main areas. So we have our strategy and consulting services. So this is where we help our clients to be able to reinvent themselves, to make sure that they're standing out in their industry and within the market. We also have our song practice. So our song is based on creating client and user experiences. That's also where a lot of our marketing falls under. So if any of you all are fans of like Stranger Things, our song was actually the group that created the special effects for Vecna in Stranger Things. So, it's way beyond just your typical, social media marketing, things like that. Like we're really innovative in what we do. We also have our technology practice. So this is really where Accenture is known to be a leader. We do technology implementation and solutioning with different products, and are one of the top partners for companies such as Oracle, Salesforce, Workday. So if you've ever been curious of, what's it like to work with these technology companies, we do that on a daily basis. And as an employee of Accenture, you actually get to interact and be part of these companies as well. Our operations is, we go in, we help companies implement their technologies, but we also help them run it on a day-to-day basis. We don't just say, here you go, and walk away. We're helping them be able to make the magic happen on a daily basis. And our Industry X practice is one of our newest ones. This one's really exciting. So if you have an engineering background, or into supply chain, or into manufacturing, this is where we actually build technologies in order to advance these areas. So we would love you to join us and follow your purpose and just make a real lasting and impactful change here at Accenture. So again, if you're interested in learning more, I invite you to connect with me directly. I will be dropping my LinkedIn in the chat in a moment as well. And Juanita, we can move on to the next slide. So this is really important to me. Our culture is all about inclusion and diversity, and that's one of the reasons why I love partnering with Latinas in tech, because I know that's a priority for them as well. So we celebrate gender diversity, faith diversity. We have a huge pride community that we support. We put mental health and well-being at our forefront. Racial diversity is important to us, cross-cultural diversity. My role itself, right? I lead Hispanic and Latinx recruitment. The existence of my role is just a testament of Accenture's commitment to inclusion and diversity, and realizing that the more diverse that our teams are, the more successful we and our clients can be. And we're into sustainability. So we think about it whenever we're doing our projects and everything that we do. We want to be mindful of the effects to the environment, to the world. And that's something that's important whenever we are implementing the work on a daily basis. So moving on. Why work at Accenture? So it's honestly probably the most fun environment that I've ever been in. So a lot of us, we work from home, but we do go to the office quite a bit. We like to say that we want to make sure that you were intentional, right, with having you come in, and it's really about collaborating with your teams, working with people, getting to know each other, and really building that familia within the organization. So at Accenture, you have a lot of opportunities to do that, whether it's through our employee resource groups or through different events that we host, both internally at Accenture and with our community partners. One of the best things about working here is really our benefits. So I will tell you, when I had both of my children, I was working at another company, and unfortunately I only got like 6 weeks with my kids before I had to come back to work. Accenture is an amazing organization for women. Here you get parental leave, you get child bonding leave, you can use your PTO on top of that. While you're on leave, you're accruing PTO. So it really gives you the opportunity, as a woman, and if you want to become a mom, to not have to choose or sacrifice family over work or work over family. A lot of my friends here at Accenture have also taken advantage of our fertility programs, right? So sometimes we want to be able to prioritize our careers, and we still want to have the opportunity to create our families later on, or we need some help in being able to do that. Accenture is very generous with our fertility programs, our adoption programs, our family expansion programs. We have great retirement matching. We have pet insurance because those are our babies too. We want to make sure that they're taken care of. Last but not least, we have so many other benefits like flexible schedules. Like I said, we do remote work. You can have in-person work, whatever is usually like best for you. There's always a way to be able to help accommodate. And the best part of Accenture, 100% hands down, is our people. So I have the absolute pleasure of introducing you to our amazing panelists today. This is Intersectionality Month here at Latinos in Tech, and this is something we celebrate at Accenture as well. So I'm going to let each of our panelists introduce themselves and talk about the different communities that they represent apart from their Latinidad. So Carolina, if you want to go ahead and take it away, please do.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Julianne, and thanks, Juana, for opening up earlier today. I am super excited and honored to be here. I'm going to be moderating the conversation today as we talk through the intersection of our different identities in the consulting and the technology world. I'm joined by three of our amazing colleagues here at Accenture. And I'm looking forward to just having a candid conversation. So we're going to be talking through some questions, but if people want to also comment in the chat, we're open to just picking some of those comments too and having them part of our dialogue. So before we jump into it, why don't we do some introductions? So I'll go first and then we'll go around the table. So my name is Carolina. I grew up in Argentina from kindergarten all the way through university. I started my career journey in Buenos Aires. That's where I joined the Accenture office. And in 2012, I had an opportunity to relocate for work to Toronto. So I've been here now for 12 years. I'm counting. This has become now home. I'm a Canadian citizen by now, and I'm really enjoying this experience of just being in a different part of the world. I have a degree in finance, so even though I'm part of technology and consulting, my expertise really is on the finance space. So most of my career has been supporting the large programs we do here at Accenture from a financial perspective. And the role that I'm playing today is as a commercial director. So that means that I'm also accountable for making sure that the programs that we're delivering to our clients are healthy from a financial standpoint, from a commitment to our clients, from a contracting perspective, and I have a pretty big job in terms of project management. Outside of work, I love traveling. Wherever I have some time off, I like to take off and go explore the world. So I just came back from a very nice vacation in Turkey. So this is week one, back to reality, back to work. So just taking one day at a time, catching up with the last 2 weeks. All right, so why don't we go around the table? So Taylor, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Taylor Hernandez. I've been with Accenture for 3.5 years now. I'm originally from Miami, Florida, where my parents are both from Cuba. That's my Latin background. But I spent most of my life in Florida, joined Accenture in the Tampa office, but I actually am recently, as of a year now, a California resident. So I'm now out of the San Francisco office. I'm in the data and AI practice. My background prior to Accenture, I was a mechanical engineer in college, but I had more of an interest in data analytics, so was able to take a pivot once I joined Accenture. Within AI, I do data visualization, so a lot of Power BI, Tableau, if you've heard of that, and And my goal in my brand at Accenture has been revolved around helping clients leverage the data that they have and visuals that they can use. If we're sharing a little bit about outside of work, one of my biggest hobbies that I now adopted to be as part of my identity is I love kite surfing. So I do that frequently throughout the week, and I appreciate Accenture kind of being able to support me in for my hobbies, and very flexible with the wind schedule. So happy to pass it along.
Awesome. Thank you. Linda, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone. Excited to be here with you all. My name is Glenda Hernandez, and I'm a managing director at Accenture. And I lead our Oracle North America education practice. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I have been in the United States for over 33 years, in the Orlando, Florida area all this time. I joined Accenture as an experienced hire. I came from Oracle, and I've been now here at Accenture for 9 years, going into 10. So I'm excited about that. My entire career, which I was actually counting, and I cannot believe it's been this long, but my entire career, so I would say almost 26 years, has been dedicated to technology, specifically in the Oracle space. And the last 20 years has been dedicated to government and education using the Oracle technology. Besides all that, I'm a mom of a 22-year-old who is a princess and the love of my life and my partner in crime. And one of my new passions, actually, that I have, and this is like a recent thing over the last 3 months, we bought an RV. So we have been doing a lot of camping and discovering new places, and I'm really enjoying that, and being intentional about just enjoying the surroundings, enjoying places here in the United States, and also setting aside some time to relax and enjoying time with my husband and my family. So excited to be here, and looking forward to hear some of the questions you have for us.
Awesome. And Tamara, you want to go next?
Yeah, so hi everyone. So my name is Tamara Norwood. I'm super happy to be here, so thanks for having me. I was also born and raised in Puerto Rico. I lived there up until I was 19. Right now I'm working with Accenture as a management consultant analyst. I've been with Accenture for a whole of 2 months, so very new, very fresh to Accenture, but so far so good. Prior to working with Accenture, I actually worked as a medic in the US Air Force, so I had a really big pivot to joining technology and consulting as a whole. But before that, I finished my MBA, and I think I always kind of knew that I wanted to land a kind of more business-centered role, more tech focus. So I was excited to be able to have this opportunity after leaving my service.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. I think we're all excited to be here and to get the dialogue going. So I'm going to throw the first question out there to get the dialogue going. And as I said before, if people want to comment in the chat or also be part of the conversation, we'd love it to be interactive. So maybe, Glenda, I'll start with you on the first question that I have, which is, in your career journey, how have the different identities, like your cultural background, your gender, maybe other intersecting factors, contributed to your success?
I would say that my diverse identity and background influenced my success in the sense that I was fortunate to have leaders that embraced my diversity and saw the value of having someone that had a different point of view. 20 years ago, we didn't have the opportunities that we have now in terms of inclusion, diversity, and equity. And I'm not gonna lie, I encountered a lot of challenges, which I know we're gonna get into later. I encountered and I navigated and worked in environments that didn't embrace, those things. So I would say that the key to my success was to be unapologetic of who I was and what I represented and where I came from. So in a way, even though it was challenging, but I think it influenced my success because it gave me the confidence, it gave me the thick skin, it gave me the empathy that I have now to not only have helped my career, right, over the course of the years, navigate through different spaces or cultures that I perhaps would have never thought I could navigate through. But I think most importantly, it allows me to have conversations like this one that we're having today. It allows me to share my experiences. It has allowed me to have others see themselves in me, and perhaps open doors for them too. So I think that all of these different things like my identity, background, intersecting factors, have contributed to the success that I have today. But it has, not gonna lie, it has come with a cost, but it has also created so much reward because it's allowed me to pave the way, not only for myself, but for other people.
Yeah, that's great. Tamara, what about you?
So I think some really specific challenge, like obviously I've changed a lot of challenges throughout my career. There's been a lot of the roles that I've held have been like in a predominantly like male space, military and medical. So it's really hard to like own myself and find that identity that Glenda was saying, like really being like I've a lot of the times thought that I had to form myself to what the norm was. And I quickly found out that like that was never gonna work and being myself was the better way forward. But I think, and unfortunately, many of the challenges that I face, I think I've been my own worst enemy. And if I can share a quick story from one of my really close friends. So my friend, sorry, I'm at the airport.
Yeah, no worries. We'll give you a few
That's
seconds.
the flexibility right there, y'all.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to catch a flight in a couple minutes. But so I have a really close friend. She immigrated to America when she was very young, and she poked herself through college. Eventually, got a good job, started working towards the job, and just climbing up. Eventually, she could bring her family over to America with her. So it's really she's building her way up in this company, and she gets to a point where she gets a position as a manager. It's like over 6 figures, like she's very excited, doing really well for herself. And she's working remotely, so she gets on a call with her manager and he makes the proposal to her. He goes over all the benefits, and as he's going over the benefits, my friend breaks down crying. This is a milestone that she never thought. She thought of herself like moving to America, coming in by herself, like immigrating and working so hard to do that. And so it was such a big step that she could do nothing else but break down and cry. And so, yes, she gets a promotion. It's a happy ending. But a couple of months later, when her manager pulls her aside and gives her first feedback, she's like, hey, the same promotion you had, I also gave to 2 other people. And while you broke down crying and were so grateful, which is a good thing, the other 2 candidates actually negotiated their salaries and their benefits. So I think I come from a really, and my friend does too, like she came from such a humble place. She never imagined like making that big gap. Like that was a big milestone for her. But I think it's really important, like because I'm sure there are a lot of people who relate to like coming from humble backgrounds. It's really important to remember who you were in the past, but it's most important to remember who you are now and all the work that you put in and the sacrifices you've done to be where you are. If you're in that room, you are no longer the underdog. And I think that thinking of yourself in that way, it could be a little bit of a shift, and it's like a mental and a personal game. But I think it's really important for all of us to take the effort to realize this is where I was and this is where I am now, and to switch that mentality within ourselves.
Yeah, that's great advice. Taylor, what about you? Any, point of view around your success or challenges that you've had to overcome in this intersection of different identities?
Absolutely. And like coming from a minority background, also identifying the queer community, you know, being sometimes the only Latina or queer person in the room, it's very motivating to me when times are tough for like myself to represent the community with my best foot forward. So in times where I found it very hard for myself to gain the energy to kind of push through certain challenges in the workplace, I really like when I think about I'm kind of representing the bigger, greater good. It gives me kind of an extra push of like that I think really brings success in my work. And I also feel like it's you know, being minority, it's also provided empathy. Glenda mentioned being able to kind of see things from a different lens is a skill in itself. And I think that you know, I really have loved the fact that it's really helped me be very intentional with ensuring that everybody has a voice on my team and making everybody feel like that they're very valuable, and I can see the repercussions of that. So
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think kind of in connection to what you guys are saying, I also have a bit of a personal story. For me, moving from one country to another, it was a big move. And I think I was, you know, very nervous making the move. And in the consulting world, I think we all know it's a fast-paced environment. Like you show up, it's day one on a project and it's like go, go, go. My first project in Toronto was nuts. It was in the banking industry. There were very hard deadlines, milestones, very stressful project. Everyone was on edge. And here I am, you know, looking and sounding different than everyone else, trying to fit in a way and stay true to myself. It was quite a bit of a challenge, but if I reflect back on that project, I think something in me just figured out that, you know, tapping into those identities of who I was and my background and upbringing was going to make a difference, and staying true to myself was maybe the best way to fit in without really changing who I was. I think us as Latinos have a better warmth sometimes than the North America style that is very direct. We tend to just care for people. We make friends. We figure things on our own. I think some of us come from countries where the rules change all of a sudden, and you gotta pivot on your feet. So. I think that project, when I look back, is it was a turning point for me to really see those identities as a superpower that I should be very, very proud of, right? Awesome. Let me move to maybe the next question that I had written down, which is talking about maybe in our career journeys, we often experience phases where we are coming maybe in and out of the industry, taking some time off for, you know, family planning, or taking some time off for personal reasons, or taking a step back to rethink of our careers. So I wanted to ask to the group, and maybe Tamara, we can start with you. Any strategies or actions that maybe have helped you navigate those transitions in and out industries or different roles?
Yeah, so I definitely feel like I've made a really big pivot, and I was very nervous coming into, like, I'm like, who do I think I am? Like, I just went to school, I learned some knowledge, but I don't really compare, don't really have a lot of, and again, you're just being your own worst enemy because you put things in your mind that don't really exist. But I think something that really helped me was to, one, have a plan. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew, so that allowed me time to like look into industries and look into the different companies that I wanted to work for. So I had a more direct focus, and it really did help me when I was looking for those roles to be picky.
Yeah, maybe we lost Tamara. Okay, we'll see if she comes back. So maybe, Glenda, I'll pose the same question to you about strategies or actions to be successful on those
Oh,
transitions.
she's back.
Yeah, Tamara, we lost you for a little bit, so can you hear us now?
Oh,
Oh,
she's
I guess okay. We'll come back to her. So Glenda, why don't we pass it on to you?
I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna answer that question with a brief anecdote, and I know Julianne is probably gonna chuckle on this one because she's heard this before. And I think my strategy was this is gonna sound crazy, but one of my strategies was being naive and also being ambitious. When I first when I first graduated, I was actually I was still in college actually. You know, I was in that like, oh my gosh, what do I want to do? I wasn't really sure. And my ambitions were like here, right? Like I wanted to conquer the world. And I applied for this job in this company locally here in Orlando, Florida. It's a pretty important company, a global publishing company. And I was completely naive, right? Of the, you know, applying to a job and going to a different industry. And so I applied for a job, and the recruiter, you know, that was there, we kind of like hit it off, and you know, we built like a little, you know, I think a good relationship. And so I filled out the application. She put me through the process, and she said, "We'll call you back." Well, I went back to my old job, and I told them, I gave them my 2 weeks notice. And I told them, hey, like, I got another job, you know, goodbye, right? So I called my new job, and I talked to my new job, and I talked to the recruiter, and I said, hey, when do I start? I quit my job and I'm ready to begin. And she's like, what do you mean you're going to start? You just applied for the job. We haven't told you that we hired you, you know, like, this is the way. And I'm like, oh, really? I thought this is how it worked. Like, I talked to you and I got a job. Well, she had to give me a job. She had no choice. I think she felt sorry for me. And she gave me a job, and that really opened the doors to my journey and my career. I mean, I worked in that company. They had a technology program for trainees. I eventually got into that. I was in IT, and I started working in Oracle technology for that company, and the rest is history. So, you know, I think that, you know, what I will say, and I know what I'm trying to, you know, to why I use that anecdote, right, is that, you know, sometimes we, you know, in my case, it came out of being ignorant. It came out of being naive, inexperienced. But you know what? I had my heart in the right place. I was passionate. I was ambitious. I wanted it, and I went for it regardless. At any cost, I was going to do it. And I was confident. And you know what? It took me through. And I am so grateful of that purity and that innocence that I had, combined with that drive and that passion, because it has taken me through where I am today. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would be here. So, you know, use that passion, be intentional, and you know what, believe in yourself, go for it, throw yourself out there, and I think great things will happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a story. What a story. Awesome. Well, I don't think Tamara is back, so I'm gonna maybe Taylor turn over to you and ask my next question, which is around mentorship and sponsorship. So I
Hi.
think you'll, oh,
I'm sorry, I'm actually here.
oh, okay. We couldn't see you. So if you're here, Tamara, go for it, because we lost you halfway through.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Can you remind me of the question?
Yeah, the question was around, you know, as we go through our careers, we sometimes have these transition periods in and out of the industry. So maybe talking about any strategies or actions that have helped you navigate through those transitions.
Yes. So yeah, so like I was saying before, I don't know how much you guys heard, but I did have to make a big transition from, you know, Air Force medic / to like consulting and technology. So the first thing I needed to do was make a plan and just be focused on the things that I wanted to do, know what I wanted to do, and trying to be really focused on my plan and try to keep to it as much as I could, as well as knowing my story is something that really helped me. I worked previously for 9 years, and I know that I made really impactful work and really, so I know that I built a lot of soft skills that could translate into this new industry. So I wasn't starting off completely new. I wasn't a blank page or a new graduate. I had a lot of value that I brought already to my other roles, and reminding me, making sure that I acknowledged those things and did not give them less credit than they deserve was one of the biggest things that helped me make a pivot into a new industry.
Right. That's awesome. And sounds like looking back, you're happy where you are, and that strategy has worked.
Oh yeah, super happy.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, good to have you back. We can see your camera, but we know you're here, so we'll keep the dialogue going. All right, so up to my next question, Taylor, so I'll post this one to you, is around sponsorship and mentorship. I think we all know, in this industry, being females, it's always important to have people that we can count in our tent to advocate for us, to coach us, to mentor, to push us. So how have you gone around finding maybe mentors for yourself or becoming a mentor for others?
Yeah, love this question. And I feel like it's kind of been mentioned briefly, but I'll reiterate again, is never being afraid to kind of share what your passions are. Because I feel like when you're in search of a mentor, when you share your passions, like those are some of the deepest connections that you'll have organically. Being able to bond over something that you're passionate about comes naturally to us as human beings. And I feel like some of my favorite managers and mentors that I've had throughout my career, in and out of my career, have been over things that I love. So never being afraid to kind of be yourself is a way of doing that. So that way that, they can also see who you are. And another way that I would say I've kind of found mentorships throughout, if I recognize somebody like from an event or, just living life, I notice somebody who's doing something that I like foresee a mentorship opportunity, I will go up and tell them how much I respect them as a person. And I feel like that's just always a very like I've never had a bad experience when I go up to someone and say how much I respect them as a human being. I feel like people tend to take that very well. And I feel like that it takes two, and it definitely takes some initiation sometimes to start that mentorship, but I feel like it's always been worth it. And once it gets going, I feel like it typically becomes much more mutual and long lasting. So
Yeah, that's great. And I think there's, also two other avenues to explore. I would say one, for me, a big one has been networking. And I think someone that is very shy, and it, it's not my cup of tea to be out there and be making friends, going through events and being very, very comfortable on it. But at some point when I moved to Toronto, it was a must. Like I was going to be on my own unless I just decided to be brave and just don't think too much about it and just go. So if you're in that spot where like the word networking feels uncomfortable, it's just maybe getting more comfortable to just showing up as yourself and not being afraid to just start conversations, be part of these communities of Latinos or other interests or passions that you might have, because there's people that are there because they value the same things, they're looking to make connections. So it's breaking that barrier of just feeling uncomfortable with it, because some of those connections can go a long way and become people that are meant to be part of your journey, right? And the other avenue is to kind of keep in mind those mentorship programs, right? I think at the beginning, Juana mentioned LEAD has a mentorship program and they're looking for mentors. So if that's something that you feel pretty passionate about in terms of comes naturally to be in that mentor-mentee relationship, looking for those programs that could maybe give you a platform to get started, right? Glenda or Tamara, anything to add from your perspective or sides?
I think you guys nailed it.
Awesome. All right, I'm just keeping tabs on the time. So maybe I'll post the last question that I had prepared, and then we can open up and see if there's any questions coming from the chat that we want to address. So the last question that I had was more around thinking of, an environment at work that is inclusive and that values equity. So what are things that maybe we can think as individuals, or when we're looking at our own organizations, that you think make an environment feel inclusive, where everyone's welcome and where some of those different identities are celebrated?
I can start if you like. I think that's obviously, and Julianne covered a little bit about our culture at Accenture, right? And I think it's we are very fortunate that culture comes from up above, right? Like we have the intention coming all the way from our CEO to all of our leaders. So that is imposed on us. However, none of that could happen unless we as individuals take charge and we are active advocates for diversity. We advocate for underrepresented groups, and we involve ourselves in diversity and inclusion initiatives. I have a million things going on in my schedule on a regular basis. I mean, sometimes sleep sometimes become an afterthought. But I believe as an individual who has been in this journey, who has, if you want to name it, I've been through it all, right? When it comes to navigating a tough career journey, right? And so it would be a shame if I didn't contribute, right? So I think advocate for underrepresented groups, participate in diversity and inclusion initiatives. I think we need to also contribute to implementing inclusive hiring practices, right? And I think we need to speak to our leaders and educate them on, we are better as an organization when there is diversity of thought, when we have people from different backgrounds. And I think we also need to lead the way. And, I see in many working environments where there's sometimes groups even if I know, Carolina, you were talking about one of your projects. We see sometimes, wherever there's people, there's always going to be challenges. And I've seen it on my own projects where I have had, in a large project team, it's divided. I have the newer generation versus the more veteran, older folks. And so I have had to come in as a leader and say, no, we do not operate that way, right? And I've had to even at times figure out events where we come together and we learn why each of us are valuable. We're different in our own ways, we're unique, but everybody brings amazing value to the table. Everybody brings amazing things that can help not only our clients, our people, but can help us grow as individuals. So, and then last but not least, I would say, in whatever organization you are, make sure that they promote policies, right, to address aspects of identity, ensuring that there are opportunities for equity and equal treatment for employees. So, in summary, I think we all need to take charge. It's not a company thing. I think as an individual thing, it's a leader thing, and it's a human thing that I think we need to do.
Yeah, loved it. Taylor, any thoughts on your side?
Sure. Yeah. I love just implementing routine check-ins, just that it opens the floor naturally every day, whether somebody has something to say or not. So on my team, like at the end of each meeting, we do just a round robin check-in. So that way just everybody formally has the opportunity to take the microphone. So just doing like creating habits in which that is a frequent check-in, I feel like is a way to be inclusive in terms of being intentional behind it. I would also say like a way of being inclusive is, I mean, I'm sure like, everybody's been on one end of this, but never assuming what somebody's preferences and likes are. I mean, some of the unfortunate experiences of being a minority have been when people have been making assumptions in things that I do and don't like. And so those are ways to make someone feel not very included. So just making sure to try to stay away from making those types of assumptions and opening the floor, I would say, are the two biggest keys for me.
Yeah, loved it. And I think for me, it's also like celebrating the difference, right? I feel very lucky to be in Toronto, which was to me a bit of a cultural shock coming here. Toronto is a melting pot. You walk the streets and everybody looks different. Everybody's dressed a bit different. Everybody has an accent from somewhere. And I think to me that has been a bit of a gift to appreciate how we're all different and how that makes us all very rich in what we bring to the table and in welcoming and celebrating those differences. So loved the conversation of just being part of a steward in terms of just seeing those differences, embracing them, creating an environment that is inclusive for everyone. All right, so just keeping a check on time. So we're about 8 minutes before the top of the hour. So Julianne and Juana, I don't know if you wanted to open it up for any interactions with our audience. I haven't seen the messages coming in, but I'll pass it on to you maybe to see if we want to tackle any of those or do any other closing remarks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
there's time, I think, for like 1 or 2 questions from the chat. So if you want me to ask them, or if you can see them, Carolina, feel free to scroll through them and just pick
Oh,
one
go
or
ahead.
two.
If you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So one of the questions we have is for someone with years of experience in different fields, right? With extensive education, degrees, non-degrees, and a lot of transferable skills, how would you suggest that they navigate through the application process? So I guess that question, I should probably take it, right? Because it's more recruiting based. So if you haven't seen in the chat yet, I've been linking the YouTube link to a session that we did with Latinas in Tech about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, where I walk through the entire application process and what Accenture and other companies like Accenture look for, specifically in resumes. So there's a whole application resume workshop that you can take a look at. I'll drop it in the chat again in a moment. But to be able to answer that for you right now, the best advice I can give you is when you're looking at a specific role that you're interested in, first and foremost, don't be afraid to apply. A lot of times as Latinas, as minorities, we get in our own heads and we tell ourselves, I don't qualify, like I have no chance. And guess what? You're not going to score every single role that you don't apply to. You have 100% chance of not getting the role if you don't apply. But if you apply, your chance is increasing, right? So don't get in your own head. Go ahead and apply. One of the main things that I always recommend to people is don't just use a generic resume when applying to jobs. Companies are really looking to see like, hey, who is the best fit for this role? Who's going to help us, take our company to the next level? And a lot of times in job descriptions, there's bullet points. There's usually 2 main sections. One of them says either basic requirements or what you need. And the other one says either like preferred qualifications or like what you should have. I would say go through your resume, have like a main resume that is like your template that you use for every application, but really look into what are the requirements for this role? What are some of the keywords in the job description? And does my resume have those keywords in it? Go through your resume, add what you need. Keep in mind that a lot of times recruiters are not the ones working in the role. So in your resume, you may assume that what you have in your resume is the same thing as what they're asking for. Be blatant about it. It's not going to hurt you to be blatant about your skill sets in your resumes. But as always, if you want me to walk you through some of this, look at your resume. I'm more than happy to set some time up with you all. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and we can set up some time.
Yeah, and I would say, Julian, even for anyone that is maybe thinking about consulting, and sometimes it's a bit of a scary industry or technology, right? I think you now have 4 or 5 people here that would be happy to just grab a coffee, virtual coffee, and talk about it, right? So
Yep.
stay connected.
Absolutely. So real quick, since I know we only have like 4 minutes left, Juanita, do you mind putting on the screen the QR code slide real quick? So for anybody who's interested in speaking with me, learning more about Accenture, we have a dedicated page for this event where you can submit your information over to me and my team. And you can connect with us, upload your resume and everything. And I 100% encourage you to go to accenture.com/careers. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. If you see any role on there, go ahead and apply. And then if you apply, send me a message and let me know that you have applied to the role. So that way I can make sure that we get it in front of the proper recruiter for the individual role. I'm here to be your advocate, be your voice, make sure that you get some guidance through this. And when you apply, it's going to ask you, how did you hear about us? Make sure that you select, usually they have like professional organizations, and select Latinas in tech. That way we know. But 100%, when you apply for a role, do not hesitate to reach out to me and let me know so that I can make sure that your resume gets seen. So here on the page, you have the QR code for those of you who are on your phones and can't scan the QR code right now. I can go ahead and post the link in the chat in a moment. Let me just go ahead and pull it. So I know we have 2 minutes left. Carolina, do you want to answer one more question?
Sure. Is there any question? I'm behind on the chat, so I don't know if there's any other question.
Yeah, let's see. Let me scroll up.
Sounds like lots of people looking to connect and happy to be here. So that's great to see.
Yeah, if somebody wants to type a question in the chat real quick that we might have
There's a
missed.
question, Julianne, there's just popped.
Oh, okay. So how relevant is it to have a US degree at Accenture? I've seen as a general pattern, the big companies won't consider candidates with foreign degrees. You're a green card holder originally from Colombia. So we do not discriminate based on where you get your degree at all. Like I mentioned, Accenture is a global company. We're actually based out of Ireland. So we have offices all over the country. You just go ahead and apply as long as you're eligible to work at in the US for the role. If you're applying, that's assuming you're applying to a role in the US. It's fine. It doesn't matter where you get your degree from, as long as you have the qualifications. And another caveat, there's a lot of roles that we have that don't even require a degree. So we say skills are your currency, right? We value your skill sets. What have you learned like throughout your career? So we have an apprentice program too. That's for those that have no intention on even getting a degree at any point in the future and might not have too many years of experience under your belt. So look that up on accenture.com/careers, because you can apply to those roles. And we've hired a lot of people that have like no degree, but maybe have like 10, 12 years of experience into leadership roles too. So we value that. Like it's great to have a degree, but that's not going to stop you from being able to contribute to an organization like Accenture. All right. So with that being said, if you do have any other questions that we unfortunately missed, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And thank you, Juana, for posting those links in the chat. For you all to be able to connect with us. We will have Latinas in Tech send out an email after the event with our landing page link again, so that if you need some time to upload your resume, you can go ahead and do that. But thank you all so very much. Thank you to our amazing panel. I am so grateful to call you all my colleagues, my friends, my fellow jefas. And until next time, Latinas in Tech, thank you so much for spending your evening with us today.
Thank you so much, Julianne, and thank you to all of our attendees. As Julianne mentioned, I will be sending out an email tomorrow with the link also to today's recording in case you missed any parts. But I'll also include the links to the career page and the landing page. So thank you to all of you. That's the wrap for today. See you at our next event. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Talk soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.